In this lesson, we'll cover path reinforcement. So you may ask, well, what is path reinforcement? Well, if we look at our plan, we see large squares with X's in those. Those are actually openings within the floor. And let's say we want to reinforce the area or a path around this opening. So to do that, we would use the path reinforcement command. Basically, you draw a line or a path around the area, or in this case, around the opening that we want to reinforce. Now, with the reinforcement path, the line you sketch has to be opened. It can't be closed. So to create this, let's go to the Structure tab on your ribbon. In the reinforcement area, click Path. The first thing Revit's going to ask you to do is to pick a wall or a floor for the path placement. In other words, what it will be hosted within. So I'm simply going to move over one of the opening edges to select the floor. With the floor selected, the ribbon changes, and Revit wants you to actually start to draw the path. Now, depending on the rebar type you use, you may want to set an offset, and different rebar have different offset values from the edges. In this example here, I'm just going to type in 1 for an offset. Now, after I do that, I need to start drawing my actual path or lines. So I'm just going to simply start by using the line command. And I'll click on one of the opening edges, and I can see the path being drawn. Depending on which direction you drag your mouse, it'll be drawn including the rebar length. The rebar length is set within the property area on the left. Let's continue to click around the opening to define the path. Now again, for the path, Revit does not allow you to close the shape, so I have to stop this short of the beginning point that I clicked. Once I'm to the end, simply click the green check mark. And it places a path now with rebar of a certain length. To see that information for the rebar, look at the property area on the left. Here I can see how it's actually justified, or where it's connected to, the face, spacing of the rebar, the type of the rebar length, and then other elements as far as the hooks, the hook end, and the hook offset, all of which can be modified here in the property area. If you need to modify the path, simply click Edit Path on the ribbon. To deselect, click in the background to place and deselect the path reinforcement that we just created. So as a review, in this lesson, we looked at path reinforcement. Path reinforcement is a way to reinforce an area, such as a floor, around an opening. When using the path reinforcement tool, you first select the floor you want to place the reinforcement in, then you start to draw a path using your draw tools. The path you create must remain open. In other words, the starting point cannot connect to the end point. Once done, you can view the properties of the path to set the actual rebar type, overall length, and any hook elements within the rebar.